In 2006, developer Volition and publisher THQ launched Saints Row for the Xbox 360, a game clearly inspired by the Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto series. The original Saints Row was a critical and commercial hit, spawning a franchise of its own, and it didn't take long for Saints Row sequels to lose sight of what made the original game very special, leaning harder into absurdity and abandoning the gang warfare framework in favor of ridiculous storylines involving superpowers, the US presidency, and hell. The new Saints Row tries to take the series back to its roots. Even though it once again features a gang warfare storyline, it still fails to live up to the original as we had seen in 2006. So this is Fenris Wolf on behalf of Gamer Overlord, and I do request you all to watch this video till the end. If you find this review informative and relatable, do please hit the like and the subscribe button, and make sure you click that bell icon so that more reviews drop on this channel and you guys can really relate to whatever information that I'm providing. So making myself and everything else clear, let's get started. The new Saints Row starts off by letting players customize the player character, the boss. Saints Row franchise's character customization options have always been impressive, and it's no different in this game. Saints Row character customization lets players tweak nearly every aspect of their character, giving them complete freedom when it comes to making their own version of the so-called the boss. After settling on the player character's appearance, they can select from a variety of hilarious emotes, including one that's a reference to the From Software's Dark Souls series and another that lets them walk like a penguin. When players have finished making their boss, they are thrust into the game's first mission, and that's where its bigger problems immediately come to light. Right off the bat, it's obvious that Saints Row is a janky, ugly game, and its first mission makes that fact readily apparent. The pop-in issues are frequent and distracting, with objects and vehicles seemingly appearing out of nowhere. Now, to make matters worse, Saints Row uses a mostly brown color scheme, and it's general that the game looks like it's lagging a generation behind its modern titles. Now, Saints Row's shooting also feels completely off, with players can be standing right next to an enemy, clearly shooting at them, but the game seemed to be arbitrarily deciding that some bullets won't be hitting the enemy at all. It's unclear why this is or what causes it. It's possible that Saints Row's cursor is inaccurate, rolling is giving enemies brief windows of invulnerability, the enemy's health bars aren't improving correct info, or there is something else going on with what makes it the bullets aren't always hitting the targets. Whatever the case may be, shooting in Saints Row doesn't feel right. Now, the good news is that this isn't nearly as big of a deal as it would be in other games, and that's because the enemy AI is so dumb that even when players are missing shots that should clearly be connecting, it doesn't mean much. As long as players keep shooting, the enemies will eventually die, and it's unlikely that the player will ever be in real danger. The enemies in Saints Row tend to stand in place and shoot, occasionally making a vain effort to roll out of the line of fire. They sometimes bull rush the player, but that only makes them easier to kill. The wonky shooting and the ugly graphics are Saints Row's biggest problems, but they aren't the only drawbacks. Humor is subjective, but it seems safe to say that many are going to find Saints Row's juvenile type humor to be as dated as the visuals. And the dialogue is cringy, with the obnoxious main character doing a bad Ryan Reynolds impression throughout the entire game. There are a handful of funny moments in Saints Row's story, but they are few and far between. Saints Row's story will give players tonal whiplash. For most part, the game is treated like a straight comedy, and most missions portray the characters as cartoons, casually committing mass murder with absurd motivations, with none of it meant to be taken seriously. Then out of nowhere, someone will bring up something serious like their loved one having cancer, and it's meant to elicit some kind of emotional reaction, but it comes across as a cheap way to try to make players care about their fellow gang members without actually earning it without meaningful character development. As the boss, Saints Row players have to build up the Saints gang from the ground up, and they do so with their friends Ellie, Kevin, and Nina. And Saints Row has loyalty missions that also can bring players to complete or learn more about the characters and unlock new weapons for them to use in battle, but the missions do little to make players actually care about their friends. But while the loyalty missions fail to really develop anyone's characters, they are least fun to play. Saints Row's missions are fun. Even with the janky shooting and underwhelming story, every mission has players going somewhere new or doing something that haven't been done before, with plenty of variety from start to the finish. The developers wasted none of Saints Row's open world when designing the missions, and it's exciting to see where each mission takes place next. One mission may have players participating in a city-wide LARP event, while another will have some same gang going another with a slapstick gang, and Saints Row players have plenty busy across its main story, loyalty missions, and criminal ventures. Criminal ventures in Saints Row offer an extra batch of missions to complete outside the main story, with players able to use their in-game cash to construct buildings and unlock new missions. This includes things like illegally dumping trucks full of toxic waste and the fan-favorite insurance fraud, where players throw themselves in front of traffic to get their insurance claims as high as possible. There is certainly fun to be had with Saints Row both in co-op and single player, but the entire experience is quite dragged down by some unfortunate technical hiccups. Players can count on running into a variety of glitches ranging from the slightly inconvenient to the kind that will force them to reload their save. One glitch saw the camera get stuck at foot level with the boss, and another made the player character especially going immobilized after a cutscene. The game also suffers from strange audio issues where NPCs talk very quietly during missions, to the point where players will be straining to hear anything they have to say. Messing with the game's audio options didn't fix the problem, though everyone can be heard loud and clear during the cutscenes. Even if one doesn't experience these technical issues, though, Saints Row is still a disappointment. The mission variety, co-op, the criminal ventures are great, but the game feels like it's at least a console generation behind in every other category. It's not the worst Saints Row game still, but it's also far from the best game in the series and will likely leave most fans of the franchise unimpressed. Overall, I just can't say that Saints Row 2022 is a big disappointment in whatever method or mode that I want to express it. I give the game a 5.5 out of 10 rating only because they gave it a try and they wanted to revive the franchise. So THQ might have to do the groundwork regarding its DLCs, which is coming probably in 2023. So that's basically from the video, guys. Do follow our Discord server for short updates that we won't be coming in our videos. Also, do follow our Instagram and Twitter handles for more regular news and updates. We will be posting few updates regarding the recently released games, so stay tuned on the Twitter handle as well. We'll be seeing you guys in the next one.